Hi, Facebook Live. Hey, Facebook Live. Um, y'all work with me, okay? Trying to bring in a special guest today. I'm a little bit early coming on for Let's Talk For Real with Shay and Trill. And as you can see, my girl Shay is not with me today. We had some scheduling conflicts, but we did not want to come on, we did not want to miss a Friday opportunity to go to Let's Talk For Real Live. So hopefully my guest will be able to come on soon. So he's coming on. So we're working this thing. Every Friday we have technical issues, but hey, we know what we're working with. So I'm gonna give him an opportunity to come on. And like I said, we're about 5 minutes early. I want to come on early enough for us to be able to get our technical issues out of the way. So hopefully he'll be on in a minute. He's connecting. Yay! Hey, Jamal.
Hello. How are you?
Thank you.
No,
Thank you. Thank you.
no problem.
Welcome. I said, first, let me start by saying Jamal did this I call him at the midnight hour. And he was more than happy to come and join us for Let's Talk For Real today with Shay and Trill. So thank you, Pastor Brown, for giving me a yes and not a no.
No problem. No problem. I'm s-
Yeah, so he's limited to his time. So hi, Virginia, that's my cousin getting on.
okay.
So we know it's Friday. You know the deal. It's Friday, so let's talk for real. It's Friday, so let's talk. Let's talk for real. Let's talk. Trill and Miss and Shay, let's talk. Let's talk for real. Let's talk. Let's talk for real. Hey, welcome, Facebookers, to Let's Talk For Real. Y'all don't know what I went through today. I was on the road all week. Got home in time to get myself ready for Let's Talk For Real. And it dawned on me that I'm not going to have Shay today. So I was like, I wanted to make sure that we did the part 2 for Are You Walking in the Spirit of a Girlfriend or a Boyfriend? So Jamal, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself before we get started? Or are you good? Or you want to jump on in?
Whatever you need me to do. Um.
Stop chewing that gum for one.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I got a halls in my mouth. Um. I am a husband. Been married for 20 years. Renewed our vows in our actual anniversaries was in October, but we renewed our vows.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Renewed our vows down in the beautiful area of Dominican Republic back in
Okay.
July, and really, well, that was kind of surreal. 20 years teaches you a lot, and
Yes.
we have 4 children. Well, really
Okay.
6, but we got 4. And then there's 2 other
Okay.
ones that we kind of really helped raise as our children,
All
and,
right.
and a host of others that we were a part of raising them. And I'm a pastor. Been pastoring now since 2009, and
Okay.
I'm at my current church. Been there about 5 years, coming up in December, January, and used to work with the fabulous Pastor Betrill Williams over when I was a correctional
Hey.
officer, and I help with help serve families now through pastoring, and also I'm a life insurance agent, um, so I can help them in terms of helping them protect themselves and their families. Um,
And he's a fellow Viking too, for all the Visitor
yes,
City Vikings out
yes,
there
yes,
too.
yes. Graduate class of
Yes. So
1993.
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to let me just give him a brief update for last week, so he'll know why I wanted him to come on today. We were talking about on last week about, are you walking in the spirit of a girlfriend, and we defined what a girlfriend was, and the definition had her as a regular woman who someone it wasn't specific. Pretty much was in a relationship with her for sexual purposes. So she really wasn't significant or important. And even in the description of who she was, none of the acronyms called her a wife. So we talked about last week about how when you walk in the spirit of a girlfriend, sometimes you find yourself falling short or not really functioning in the right capacity to become a wife. And so that's why a lot of women are still in um, cohabitation type of relationships or still have the girlfriend status, is because she's walking in the wrong spirit. So what I wanted to do for part two was get a the male perspective on, are you walking in the spirit of a boyfriend versus the spirit of a husband? And with you just celebrating 20 years of marriage, and I think you're more than qualified to be able to talk about, the male perspective on it, and just give us your wisdom on it. So the way we normally sort, we like to give definitions. So I looked up the definition for a boyfriend, and just the same thing it is said about a girlfriend, they say about a boyfriend. He is a male friend or acquaintance, and he is specifically a regular male companion with whom one is in a platonic, romantical, or sexual relationship. So they said this is a normal short-term committed relationship, and therefore there coins the phrase boyfriend. So they're saying even in his title, he's short-term, but a long-term commitment or relationship is commonly known as a husband or life partner. So I want to give that first definition, and I'll go into some of the qualifications because that's what we talked about on the last segment. What were some of the qualifications of a girlfriend? And so I want to see if you want to jump in.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I would agree with both definitions in regard to the key is short term versus long term.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the not it, I would say it's the spirit, it's the mindset that a male would have or female would have regarding that particular individual that they're dealing with. To be quite
Mm-hmm.
honest, to be quite honest, um, at least in terms of being a man, most men know, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
when they
Mm-hmm.
meet that one, whether they gonna give themselves to that one to be their
Uh-huh.
boyfriend only or girl in a short amount of time. Most men know.
Mm-hmm.
They already know. They already know this is either it, this is the one, or she ain't the one.
Mm-hmm. So what made you decide that your wife, not saying current wife because you only had one,
That's right.
that your wife was the one for you? What was the determining factor for you?
Standard.
Okay.
Standard. A wife, when you're walking in the spirit of a wife, a man is going to pick that up based upon the standard she sets for
Right.
herself. A man is
Repeat
going
that
to,
again.
most men are going to pick up what that woman based upon the standard she sets for
Mm-hmm.
herself. And we pick
Mm-hmm.
up on that early, typically.
Right.
And obviously, there's no
Mm-hmm.
absolutes. There's always some variations, but
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, we pick up on that immediately. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
long after that we pick up on her standard for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And like I tell
So
my,
what was some of your wife's
Well,
standards.
one of their standards I'll never forget. This one, and I usually tell folks this one, especially when I'm doing marital counseling. So
Mm-hmm.
I always tell women and I tell men when I do my marital counseling, one of the biggest things I tell them is, because I do like 6 or 7 sessions, and one of the areas that
Right.
I deal with is communication. And when I talk
Mm-hmm.
about communication, I deal with it from this perspective, and that is this: you gotta know for you what your
Right.
negotiable and non-negotiables are. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta know that for you. Whatever your
Yes.
negotiables and non-negotiables are, you must know that to be honest with integrity for yourself. And what that
Mm-hmm.
does is that'll weed out, in my opinion, and based upon my experience, that'll weed out the ones who are supposed to be there and the one who ain't supposed to be there. That'll weed
Mm-hmm.
them out.
So that'll weed out that'll make a difference between him being your boyfriend and him becoming your husband.
Yes, that'll weed them out.
Mm-hmm.
When you know for you, whether it be male or
Mm-hmm.
female, what your negotiables are not. So I give you an illustration. With my wife, I'll
Okay.
never forget this. This experience is what taught me it. I'll never forget, I got upset about something. I don't even remember to this day what it was about. I got upset about something and I started cussing. Now I know folks gonna say
Uh-huh.
the pastor cuss. Well, yeah, Christians do cuss.
That was before your BC
That was
days.
before my BC days. I started cussing, and my
Uh-huh.
wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she said to me,
Mm-hmm.
she stopped me in really
Uh-huh.
mid cuss or mid sentence, and she asked me this.
Uh-huh.
She said, "Do I still want this relationship?" And I said,
Mm-hmm.
"H, yeah. What you trying to say?"
Uh-huh.
And she said to me, I'll never forget it. She looked me dead in my eye. She didn't blink. She didn't smile. And that's real important because a man can tell when a woman is for real and when she ain't. When she just
Uh-huh.
talking and when she ain't talking. And
That's right.
she said to me, if I wanted to be in a relationship with her, I better never, this is her standard,
Mm-hmm.
cuss at her, cuss around her ever again.
Uh-huh.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
So what she was
Period.
pretty much saying is this: either I was going to roll with that non-negotiable, or I had to roll out the door. That will
Good. She
help.
set a standard.
She had a standard,
Mm-hmm.
so either I had to
Mm-hmm.
raise my game to that
Right.
level, or I was disenfranchising myself or eliminating myself from her from what she wanted.
So a lot of times what we do as women is that instead of making or putting, like you said, setting the standard or the tone for him to come to where we are, we lower who we are to his level.
Yes,
So that
and
means
you
if she wouldn't have set that standard at that point,
we wouldn't be
you would have
together.
continued being cursing.
Right. And therefore,
Or not be with her.
right. Well, I wouldn't have been with her because
Hmm.
she didn't. Like I
Right.
said, a man knows when a woman's telling when she's hit her mark, when she knows what
Right.
she wants, and that's what I mean by men and women must know what their negotiables and non-negotiables. So, like, that's a non-negotiable for her. Can't cuss around her, can't
Uh-huh.
cuss at her, can't call her out of her name, can't do none of that. That's
Hmm.
a non-negotiable. Now, a negotiable
Hmm.
may be Jamal still will come in the house. Jamal will take off his clothes. Jamal, instead of hanging the clothes up, would have put them in the chair next to the bed
Uh-huh.
and won't pick them up
Hmm.
for several days. But
Uh-huh.
though it gets on her nerves, that's still something
Hmm.
she's willing to work with me
She
on.
can work with.
But
Yes.
she
Hmm.
cannot work with me on the cussing her out, cussing around her, or misabusing or mistreating
Hmm.
her. She can't work with that. So I either had to
Hmm.
raise my game to that standard
Right.
or I
Hmm.
didn't. But that also helps the male to understand this is the one.
Right.
I want to settle down with this type of woman.
Hmm. So, what other qualifications or standards did she set for you to look beyond her being girlfriend material to wife material?
Well, that was it. Plus, other things as most people, she was hardworking. She had
Hmm.
vision. in regard to what she
Uh-huh.
wanted out of life. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't. Most men don't want no woman who, well, at least the men I hang around. Let me state that.
Uh-huh.
I'll state that. Most men, they,
Uh-huh.
I'll state it like this, and I'm gonna say this in two ways. Let me share it like this for men and women.
Mm-hmm.
But is most men want, I'm gonna say it biblically, Delilah and Mary,
Right.
all in the same one.
Uh-huh.
They
Mm-hmm.
want a woman who
Can you
knows how to,
expound on that?
yeah, they want a woman who knows how to uphold herself, a woman who knows how to get her grind on, a woman who's got some
Mm-hmm.
initiative. They want that kind of woman, but they also, and that's Mary. They,
Right.
and you know, it,
Oh, you're freezing up, Jamal. Nothing but the devil because he's giving out some good stuff. So hopefully he'll unfreeze in a minute. So he must have went into a bad area. We're going to get back to him, but while we're waiting on him, some of the traits that I looked up for what they say a great boyfriend is, he's an active listener. He just used that as an example with his wife. Let me see if I can get him back in too, y'all. Uh, okay, I think he's getting back in. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know it's Friday. We got all these technical things, especially when they get good. Hey, I figured you must have got to hit a bad spot.
yeah, but I had a phone call.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Go ahead. You was talking about Mary and Delilah.
so yeah, one Mary and Delilah, at the same time, or I'll give you one of the best ones I've ever heard a woman say, and she hit it
Okay.
dead on the head. Tamala Mann. I went and heard
Mm-hmm.
her, her and David Mann, they've been married a long time, yada, yada, yada. And they asked
Uh-huh.
her the question, why does she always change the color of her hair? And she
Uh-huh.
looked at her husband and she said, because of him. And she said,
Okay.
because if he wants, I'm the wife, but I'm also going to be the girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
I'm also going to be the
Okay.
girlfriend. So if he wants a blonde-headed woman, I'm going to give him a blonde-headed woman. He wants a red-headed
Yeah.
woman, I'm going to give him a red-headed woman. He wants a brunette woman, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to give him a brunette woman. Whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So her initiative is, yes, to be her own true self, but she's also trying to please her husband. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I want the men to understand this. That's not a one-way street. The
Go ahead.
man's
Mm-hmm.
responsibility is also to find ways to please his wife. If
Yes.
that's what he wants. Watch this, if a man does not
Mm-hmm.
want that, then he is not husband material yet.
Go ahead.
He is
Yet.
not husband
Mm-hmm.
material yet. You must listen to your mate, spouse, whatever you want to call them,
Mm-hmm.
significant other, what have you. They're talking if you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
If he does not, if his initiative is always about him and he doesn't want to ever try to please you, he's talking to you. He's telling you where he
Uh-huh.
is, and he's saying he is
Mm-hmm.
not yet ready for husband material.
Right.
He's not ready for
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
that means he may have to switch. You may have to change gears and go
Uh-huh.
another direction. Because
When
watch
you was
this.
on your
Huh?
uh-huh.
Go ahead. What you gonna say?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So my statement is when two people come together and when particularly when a man, like I said, we know almost intuitively, and we know
Uh-huh.
when this is the one. It's the way she carries herself.
Mm-hmm.
It's what she will
Mm-hmm.
put up with and what she won't put up with. Women cannot
Mm-hmm.
underestimate that. Now, what
Uh-huh.
I will state though, is this, because I know there are going to be some women, well, I'm like that now, and I already do all of that, and yada, yada,
Right.
yada, and all of this. But I know normally, watch this, check this. The reason why I'm going to say this is because when they normally have that defense, all you got to do is pay attention. They always are saying it typically with an attitude.
Uh-huh.
So
Go ahead.
ain't no man is going to be around a woman who's always got an attitude.
Uh-huh.
He's not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Not any man that's
No.
worth his salt. He's not going to do it.
And we're not going to do it either
Yeah.
as women.
Yeah, he's not going to
Yeah.
do it. So, you know, if you're going to make it extremely difficult or super difficult or whatever, and then no. But you do have to still have your standards. And the standards have to be approachable, reachable, not way out in the stratosphere. He could never hit them. But it has to be approachable and reachable. But you have to, you gotta cause him to reach for you. You gotta realize what I would love to be able to just tell women is this. You gotta realize you are the most precious jewel any man, no matter who it is, will ever get. That ring he gives you is a indication of how valuable you are. And anytime you allow somebody to treat you less than what your value is, you are always going to lose.
Yes.
Always.
Always.
Always going to lose.
That's good, Jamal.
So when a man knows that a woman knows her value, that makes her. Why? And let me state this. One of the great ways you can always tell. I tell my daughters this now, and I want folks to understand. I tell my daughters this: you either gonna be a chicken head or you're gonna be the wife. And this is what I mean by it. If you can never meet that man's mama, you ain't the one.
Go ahead.
Straight up. That's just real. Or whoever his mother representation is. Whether it be the mother, the grandmother, the aunt, whoever that woman is, if you can never meet her, you are not the one. He's speaking right then and there. And a man knows it. Not interested in you. If you can't ever meet that significant woman in his life, whether it be his mama or his aunt or his grandma, you are not the one, and he's telling you that.
Yes. But I don't know why. Go ahead. You're doing good.
The woman determines what she's going to get. The man also, based upon them understanding their own value. When you understand your value, then you will attract that. Eventually, it's going to come. Eventually, it's going to come. So, just in terms of being that boyfriend or being, you know, and let me state this as well. The reason why it's important that you meet the mama, the sister, the brother, is this. And women and men need to pay attention to this. Marriage has a way of dealing with your past issues.
Yes, that's
or the
true.
things you have not been healed from or been delivered from. Marriage has a way of bringing that intimacy, but to deal with it. If a man, if you never get to see, watch, understand the interaction that man has with his mother or whoever that woman is in his life that raised him, you will never understand what type of husband he's going to be. His depiction or interaction with his mother or whoever that significant woman is key to understanding how he's going to treat you and how he understands the relationship process when he does get in a long-term relationship.
And that's why people say the term that if you want to know how a man's going to treat you, watch how he treats his mother. Watch and how he interacts with women
her
in his life.
That's key. That is so key. You cannot you cannot misunderstand or don't pay attention to that. You got to pay attention to that. You got to know what that is. And
so when you was on your Go ahead.
No, go
When
ahead.
you was on your call earlier, I was talking about some of the because we talked about some of the qualifications of a girlfriend compared to a husband, and there are 10 traits that it says that a man has to have for him to be a good boyfriend. One is that he has to be an active listener.
Okay.
He has to be focused on what she's saying.
Uh-huh.
You said that when you said that about your wife, that you was focused on what her standards was and what her limits were. He has to be an attentive lover. That means not just about him in the bedroom, but he has to be open with his communication. He's open-minded. He's committed to her needs and not just his.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's commitment.
Can I
He takes
interject?
care.
Can I interject right there?
Go ahead.
That is what you
Mm-hmm.
just described is the definition of what Jesus says, or when it's stated in the Bible, where it says, "And the two shall become one flesh."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But we get it backwards.
Yeah.
That's when we go test driving stuff.
Yeah.
But we talked about that last week too.
Mm-hmm.
He takes care of his appearance. He makes sure that he puts effort into how he's groomed and how he's put together. He's empathetic. He listens attentively, and he puts himself in her shoes. He has a sense of humor, and he's interested in learning, and he's giving. And the same way we did qualifications for the girlfriend, none of these qualifications list husband.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times we get so caught up in the fact that he has the qualities of a husband, but he's not walking and functioning in the role of the husband.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if you want me to go ahead and do some of the traits of a husband.
Do some of the traits of the husband.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The role of the husband, it's a difference. They give traits for the boyfriend, but they give roles for the husband.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the roles of the husband, and he has to be the physical provider for his household.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that his kids need, his wife needs, he has to go out and work and provide for. So he is the provider. He is the spiritual leader of his household. Sometimes we're out of order. And I ain't going to say sometimes, a lot of times we're out of order because the woman is functioning as the spiritual leader, but it's out of order. And then we got the husband is the head of the house. And the husband must also model Christ. And in order for him to model Christ as a husband, he must first model Christ as a man. So he must be able to provide for her spiritual needs, her physical needs, and her emotional needs. So those are the roles of the husband.
Very good. Well, I would say there's a principle of, whatever you sow is what you're going to reap.
Yes.
That is whether you believe in the gospel, whether you believe in the Bible. I don't care what you believe. Nobody, absolutely nobody is beyond that principle. Whatever you sow, you will reap. If the husband is operating in his role, he's going to sow into the foundation or the ground, if you will. And I'm not just talking about sexually, but sow into his wife. And this is what I mean. Anytime a woman has a husband, her life ought to get better.
Go ahead.
Anytime a woman has a husband.
He's freezing up again. I tell you, the devil really don't want this conversation to take place, people. Hopefully he'll unfreeze. Are you okay?
Hello, can you hear me? All right.
You know what? You're going to get this stuff in here, Jamal.
Her life ought to get better.
Right.
All right. So because that man is in her life and he's doing his part, her life may have started at ground A. That man's life ought to help her progress to wherever that is, all the way to Z. Meaning her life ought to get better. So because he's in her life, if she started off with just an example, just to, kind of give measurements. If she started off
Uh-huh.
and all she did, she didn't have a high school diploma. Let's say that's it.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Because that man was there, she moved from having a high school diploma to a college degree to
Uh-huh.
a master's degree, maybe even to a
Mm-hmm.
doctorate.
Right.
Because he was there, he coached her.
Mm-hmm.
He was her greatest cheerleader. Because he was there,
Uh-huh.
he was her provider to make sure that that happened. Because
Mm-hmm.
he was there, her life got better. That is the definition, traits of a good husband. If her
Uh-huh.
life is not getting better, then he was not operating in the realm of a husband.
Right.
They
Mm-hmm.
ought to be able to see some measuring sticks. There's some
Right.
measurements to be able to determine whether or not he a good husband or whether or not he a husband at
Mm-hmm.
all. Meaning her life got better. Her life,
Mm-hmm.
she used to worry about the bills. Now she ain't worrying about the bills no more.
Right. Mm-hmm.
She she
Yes.
she she used to raise the kids by herself. Now he there raising the kids, teaching the kids how to do it
Uh-huh.
themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Her life
Yes.
got better.
Mm-hmm.
She's not in it by herself. Her life
Yes.
got better. Meaning when the
Mm-hmm.
winds of life, watch this now, that husband ought to be like a mountain. And this is what I
Yes.
mean. This is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That his shoulders are so broad, so big because of the grace of God that's on him. Obviously, I'm going to come from the Christian perspective because of God.
That's
But
fine.
but because of who God is and because of who God has created him to be and because of who God is making him into, he ought to be able to be a mountain. Meaning when the
Mm-hmm.
winds of life come, he's
Uh-huh.
he's catching the brunt of the winds. So when the wind is
Mm-hmm.
hitting the mountain, it's going around her. It's going around her because it can't get
Uh-huh.
through him because it's going around her. Going
Right.
around him, that she's protected, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, in a sense, from the
Mm-hmm.
majority of the wind. It's not saying she's not gonna get some of the wind, but she's not
Right.
getting the hurricane of it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He's stopping some of that wind from her hitting him. From the wind
Mm-hmm.
hitting them. You, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. I don't know if that analogy
Yeah,
makes
that
sense.
makes a lot of sense.
So
Yes.
that is one of the key traits, characteristics, roles that a husband plays.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing is that most people don't realize is this. A good husband, a good father now I know most don't agree with this, I would disagree, is a nurturer,
Uh-huh.
is a nurturer.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because of the seed that's in him, and hopefully the seed of God
Mm-hmm.
that's in him, he nurtures that into his family. He nurtures that into his
Uh-huh.
wife. He nurtures that into his
Mm-hmm.
children. He nurtures that for them to
Mm-hmm.
be able to be better. Like for my kids,
Yes.
I told my wife, listen, I got life insurance. I'm a life insurance guy. I got a lot of life insurance on me.
Right.
And the reason why I got a lot of life insurance, I hope some men are listening to this. You are wrong,
Mm-hmm.
sir, if you don't have life insurance.
You're correct.
And the reason why I'm going to tell you you're wrong is because this is the woman you said you loved. This is the woman you said you
Uh-huh.
gave your name to. This is the woman who had
Uh-huh.
your children. This is the woman
Mm-hmm.
who helped raise your babies. That woman,
Right.
why wouldn't you want to give her the advantages that if something
Mm-hmm.
happens to you based upon the life you're trying to build for her and build for your family, why would you not want to give her opportunities and options so that way she ain't just
Uh-huh.
got to choose any, as my pastor would say, breath and pants, any old Tom, Dick, and Harry that just comes along?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Why would you not want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not?
Because I think
Go ahead.
I think it's because of a lack of not knowing what our roles are. Because the roles have been reversed to the point where men are in the position of their wife and the wife is in the position of the husband, because it's a lack of order, and we've fallen from traditions, and we haven't had the examples and those to show us what healthy marriages and God-fearing relationships are supposed to look like. So I think a lot of times it's because they don't have that male figure in their lives to teach them and show them what a husband's supposed to do and what he's responsible for. Not saying that that's an excuse, but
Well, it,
oftentimes that's what happens.
that is true, and I think we all as a village, I think we do got to get back to the village concept.
Right.
We have to teach
Mm-hmm.
that. Like I'm right now, I'm in New Jersey. I'm with the folks. Like this is therapeutic for me. I'm with the people who raised me. I was raised
Right.
by Joe and Beverly Brown, but I was also raised by Yolanda Rogers, Alfonso Rogers, and
Uh-huh.
and Warren Cooper, Timmy and Shirley. I was raised by these
Right.
folks, so I had a village of mothers and
Mm-hmm.
fathers that I picked up certain things from that helped me to be better or to do it better.
Mm-hmm.
But let me state this, and please, both men and women, husband and wife, hear this. I said it for the man, but it's really for both. You're
Right.
walking in the role of a husband or wife if your spouse can look at their life, and because you're in
Mm-hmm.
it, they're better.
Boy, you just like to make me jump up and run.
They're better. If your life
Yeah.
is not better because that person's in your
And
working their role and in
yes.
your life, then guess what? They are not your husband or your wife.
Mm.
The life ought to get better
Better. Yes. Yes.
because you were there.
Those two words got cut out, Jamal. I don't know what happened.
I said
After better.
better, richer, or deeper. It ought to.
Yes.
It ought to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not stating that happens overnight. I'm not stating that I'm stating but that's the real deal. Life
Mm-hmm.
ought to get better
Better.
because you're in
Yes.
your role as a husband or
Mm-hmm.
a wife. That
Well, Jamal,
is
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I know you. I want to make sure that I keep to my time, because I know you said you can give me 30 minutes,
Yes, ma'am.
but we're gonna have to get you when you get back into town. We're gonna have to do a part 3, and we're gonna have to get you at the table with Shay and myself so we can get this continued, because I don't want to run over our time, and I know everybody is getting home from work, and I want them to be able to spend time with their family. But this is a good topic that we need to bring you to the actual table so we can get the male perspective on it. And I appreciate you taking out the time when I called you on such short notice to give us these good wisdom nuggets and let me sit here and eat for a change.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I always, the Bible. Well, I've heard the statement. I don't know if the Bible says, "Be ye also ready, always ready." So, I thank God for allowing me
Mm-hmm.
this opportunity. I'd be glad to come. Just let me know. I consider you a good
Okay.
friend and colleague, and so just
Mm.
let me know. And I hope I was able to share, and it was enriching to those who are listening.
It was awesome. If you can just drop one thing for the men out there, what would you like to close with?
I would like to say to all the men, love yourself. And one of the best
Mm-hmm.
ways you can love yourself is when you got what I like to call old adage. I don't know if it's politically correct, but when you find you a ride or die,
Go
you
ahead.
you better do everything you can to keep her. Don't
Mm-hmm.
mess up on that jewel. When you
Mm-hmm.
find you a ride or die, you better keep her.
Mm-hmm.
You better
Yeah.
understand that value, because when you have something like that, she'll enrich your life in ways you will never be able to
Mm-hmm.
recuperate from when you get you one of them. That's real
Yes.
deal. So when you got you one, you keep her and do everything you
Mm-hmm.
can to keep a smile on her face.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And women, I just want to leave us with that: just because he's a mountain don't mean that he don't need a resting place.
Yes.
Yes,
Woo!
yes, don't mean he don't need a resting place, women. We need to make sure that while he's out there trying to be our Goliath and our Superman, that when he comes home, that he has a place to rest his head. And we need to encourage him and let him
Yes.
know that he can conquer the world. And
Yes.
don't just let him carry it all by himself.
Amen.
So yes.
Amen. Amen.
So
Amen.
it's Friday, you know the deal. It's Friday, so let's talk for real. It's Friday. Let's talk. Let's talk for real. Let's talk with Shay and Trill. Let's talk. Let's talk for real. Let's talk. Let's talk for real. And we'll join you next time on Facebook Live. Thanks again,
Deuces.
Jamal. Be
All right.
safe out there.
Thank you.
Love
Love
you.
you too. Take care.
Deuces.
All right. Bye bye.